Thanks for tuning in to your favorite content creator, UTV. To find out more, follow us on our social media platforms: YouTube UTV124, Facebook UTV124, Instagram UTV124, Twitch UTV124, TikTok UTV_124, and Flow TV channel 124. Remember, UTV, TV for you.
I can't
Good morning, everyone. It is August 3rd. It is Tuesday, 2021. I know that day sounded crazy there. Maybe lack of practice. I haven't been here in a while. I know that I missed you guys. But I did take a break, and now we are back. I need you to know there were so many things happening, and every morning I felt the need to, just say something, because I begin, well, not begin because it's at 11, but I start off the day with you guys, and I'm really glad to be back. For those of you always listening to us on our radio partner station, that is Hits FM 92.1 and 91.1, welcome to the show, and thank you very much for listening. I don't know whether you're driving or whether you're at home. I appreciate it very much. And also, if you are watching us on television on channel 124 on Flow, that's UTV Underground Television, thank you once again. And for those of you watching on the different social media platforms where we are always streaming live on weekdays from 11, thank you as well. To some people, I need to say in answering Nerita, Mr. Yona Henry, Mary Charles, all of you, good morning as well. And Denry, Sandra and Lionel Pierre, Juliet, thank you as well. And I hope you guys are having a great day and coming off of Emancipation Day. I don't know, do you feel free? Do you feel a little bit liberated? I don't know. What are you feeling? And I'm looking forward as well to the calls you're about to get. And because I've been away for some days, I know the topics of discussion might change, and whatever it is, I expect your call. But as we're ushering in a new administration and things hopefully would be different, I expect in some ways, let me tell you what I think, right? I think as a citizen, I want to be bored, because I want to know that this administration is, they're doing things and it's under control. And yes, we're going to hold them accountable for their actions. But I really do believe that there will not be as many scandals, that there will not, let's just deal with the transparency of it and good governance. That is what I want. But as for the show, I have to be more creative with it if it's going to be boring. So these are good problems to have. And as we're trying to figure out where we are, I know for one thing, no matter what happens, we will continue to speak truth and follow it wherever it leads us. But because of how we started with the show, I think just for the culture and just as tradition, we are going to watch the Prime Minister's last address. And before you run and before you'll get vexed, I do believe that when you're sitting on the other end of the elections and when the decision has been made, when you look back on certain things, it actually does put it in perspective. So yeah, for the culture, for the tradition of it, let's remind ourselves of the Prime Minister's last address. Some people rightfully called it, I guess, his goodbye speech. But I think when we're looking at what we have now, let's just remember what we had to survive for 5 years.
Lucia, now is not the time to put that recovery at risk. Now is the time to keep working. Because what we do now is so important. Throughout the pandemic, we kept our projects going. This has created thousands of jobs and left us with lasting infrastructure for the benefit of every St. Lucian. We have so many major projects underway and are shovel-ready. The North-South Highway, the police headquarters, Grosley Police Station, courthouses, the Millennium Highway and West Coast Road, the Hunori International Airport redevelopment, the Viewport Homeport, Point Seraphin Castries redevelopment, just to name a few. All these projects will create jobs and empower our people. It's too important to risk delaying or canceling any of these projects. My fellow St. Lucians, you want to know that tomorrow will always be better than today. How we recover will determine if this is true. Whether we will have good infrastructure, whether we will improve our wages, whether our children can go to school and get education, and whether we can light that torch on the top of the piton to shine across the entire Caribbean. The hopes and the dreams of the nation rest in your hands, St. Lucia. Tomorrow, you can decide to go backwards, to put the recovery on hold, or you can decide to go forwards and continue to realize our dream of a new St. Lucia. If you've not made up your mind, this election will be the most important election since independence. We have a choice to make. We can stop now so 4 men can fight for power. We cannot put our children's future at risk. We cannot put your family's future at risk. We cannot put the future of our country at risk. Tomorrow, you can secure our future. You can vote for your grandmother or mother to be covered by health insurance when she gets sick.
Story. Now, when I look back on that, I'm telling you, you're seeing things that you didn't necessarily see before. For me, it's like Shasta come there on the eve of elections, offering people and telling them, you know, guys, so check yourself, all what we do for you already, just vote us in. And I don't know whether, again, that was another failed tactic by the Cambridge Analytica and the advisors, but clearly that didn't work. And I don't want to stay on it for too long, but the promise is the 100 days of health insurance, and they'll have that within 100 days. I think you'll really, I say that, you guys took the piss. Okay, so with that being done, and that's over, and hopefully I won't have to do or air or feature those guys too much as we go on, except when we have to have them to account, because people need to go to jail for women for this country. That we will not forget. But let us see what's it like. There's a new person here, a new prime minister. Let's take a look at their first address as Prime Minister.
Dear Lord, we bring before you our Prime Minister designate. We ask that you give to him discernment, wisdom, and fortitude.
I, Philip Joseph Pierre, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to St. Lucia, and I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of St. Lucia, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of St. Lucia. So help me God. The country needed to be rescued from the abyss into which it was plunging. The majority of you accepted my offer to lead that rescue mission. The full rescue team also includes you, the people. As Prime Minister, I promise to be Prime Minister not for some of the people, but for all the people. It has been a long and difficult journey, one that began when a child born to Ogis, a policeman, and Evelyn, a teacher. This child grew to be a man, always underestimated, sometimes ridiculed as a stutterer. But only this child knew that with the help of God, patience, dedication, and hard work, he would one day rise to be able to serve his people with love and humility. I thank God for carrying me thus far. I shall require divine intervention and guidance in the coming days, and grace in fulfilling the hopes and aspirations for the people of St. Lucia. I want to thank the people of St. Lucia, and especially my constituents of Castries East, for their support and show of confidence to allow me, after 25 years of representation, to lead the country over the next 5 years. I want to thank my family, and at this time, I want to thank and remember my parents and my brother. And my friend Stokes. I want to thank members and executive of the St. Lucia Labour Party and Team Labour 2021. I want to thank Sir Julian Hunt and Tom Walcott, I also want to thank Dr. Kenny Anthony, and all the people who really believed in me and encouraged me, even when it seemed that I would never make it. I want to mention Leo Clark of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And my colleagues, Lawrence Theophilus, and the leadership of the St. Lucia Labour Party. I would like to express my most profound gratitude to you and the residents and citizens of this beautiful land who have honored your sacred obligation in our democratic society by exercising your franchise. You went out and peaceably registered your voice, not only in support for me, but for the party, the St. Lucia Labour Party. But against the things you thought were wrong about the direction we were heading. Naturally, not all of you voted for me and my party. Some of you did not, for whatever reason, share our views on the direction we should be heading. Thankfully, the majority were of a particular view, and that is, the country needed to be rescued from the abyss into which it was plunging. The majority of you accepted my offer to lead that rescue mission. So I offered to do so with a team of 15 men and women, representing an excellent blend of experience and youthful energy. The full rescue team also includes you, the people. As Prime Minister, I promise to be Prime Minister not for some of the people, but for all the people.
And I think it means something when you're looking on at that ceremony, and I think everyone would agree that it was a moving speech. I think when a man who people didn't think, people ridiculed him, people didn't think that it could happen, and you sit there and you're watching your friends and your family and you're being sworn in as Prime Minister, and you saw yourself that his parents aren't here and his brother isn't here either, and that's when I guess he got overwhelmed. But I hope that the sincerity continues, because I'm tired of Prime Ministers faking tears. So with this one, Philip JP, I understand completely. It was, for me personally, it was heartwarming, and I think there are some people looking on when you think of Joachim Henry, unseating guy, and you look at the individuals there that overcame a lot of the obstacles. Who would have believed Emma could have accomplished that, or Jeremiah? There are a lot of unexpected feats that happened there, and I think for some people it'll be a good thing to look at. And for the sincerity of it, I want that. I want to see more of that. I want people to be more open with actual feelings, like that is a change that I welcome, and I didn't think we needed it until I saw it, and until we hadn't had it in a while either. Just people who are sincere with their emotions. But as we continue with the show too, I think I wanted to give the new Prime Minister his shine. That was what was happening in the House. Let's see what's happening outside in Marshall when people are watching their Prime Minister, I guess, come home.
Colleagues have decided that we will put you first. So we have to be diligent, be disciplined. Let us protect that victory. Do not let that victory slip away. It's important. They will try to destabilize it. Keep that victory going. Listen to the truth. Do not get moved by rumors in windows. The rumors have started. Do not let the rumors confuse you. Stand firm. Stand firm. We've made it. We have to protect it. This is our victory. Victory of the people. Victory of the people of St. Lucia. And we must protect this victory. I'm sorry, we could not have the motorcade as planned, nor could we have the shrine of ministers in the park, because we have to be careful with the COVID spread. And we don't want anybody to be blameless for anything. But on Thursday, we're going to have 2 big screens so you can watch the swearing of the ministers on Thursday. And as soon as things cool out, we're going to have the motorcade that we promised you.
Thank you!
So, hold tight. Hold tight. Protect that victory. Protect that victory. It is your victory. It's the victory of the people. Protect it. Do not let them destabilize it. Protect that victory. We have to be disciplined. We have to be disciplined in that victory. We have to be disciplined. We have to understand that you have a government that wants to work for you and with you, so you have to protect it. I want to tell you, protect that victory. It's a victory for the people. My brothers and my sisters, we have to look after each other, right? Soon from now, we're going to be making some announcement.
So again, that's what's happening on the ground with the new Prime Minister, red carpet laid out, and you can see people's excitement at having to see all of that, and people in Masha, so your haba is on Mepui. So I imagine, yeah, of course you'd be happy that the Prime Minister is coming from your community, but it also speaks to me of the Sahants when they're on platform and they had their show. People like Nancy who mocked Jeremiah hopping on one leg on stage. You know, people who insulted the doctor from his own community, Munkadi Shon Cafe Bomb, and then the woman herself, what's her name now, in Denry North there, she continued with it. All of the dirtiness, the nastiness, the way people were trying to divide others. I think it means something when St. Lucians, I think, put color aside and just decided that we need better than that. And as we again speaking about Philip J. Pierre, you can see other people congratulating him. We can look at the next image here of his alma mater, places that he has attended school and stuff, and they're happy. So let's take a look at what's happening there. St. Mary's College proudly congratulates old boy Honorable Philip J. Pierre upon becoming St. Lucia's Prime Minister, 12th Prime Minister. Let's go on to the next one. UE also congratulated Philip J. Pierre, and you can also know that there are many other people, other leaders within the region congratulating Philip J. Pierre, including the St. Vincent Prime Minister, Ralph Gonsalves. And I don't know, but it was very, as Dr. Gonsalves could not hold back his glee. Like, there was no diplomacy about it. He seemed very happy to have Philip J. Pierre as Prime Minister. And I wonder how the others felt. I know Gaston Brown already had his thing with Chasney. Because I remember some footage that was being put out there from CARICOM meetings, and people literally watching Chasney like, what is that man saying? What is he saying? So I hope that we will no longer be a laughingstock within the region, but let us hear another congratulatory speech from Dr. Ralph Gonsalves to Philip J. Pierre.
On Monday, July the 26th, the people of St. Lucia went to the polls in peaceful, competitive, free and fair democratic elections. And when the votes were counted, the St. Lucia Labour Party, led by a great leader, Philip J. Pierre, carved out a magnificent victory over the incumbent United Workers' Party. This victory is overwhelming. The people have spoken overwhelmingly. They have spoken for deepening social democracy, to improve the lives of St. Lucians, to improve their livelihoods, to strengthen our regional institutions and deepen regional integration, and to build efficaciously with the international community peace, prosperity, and security. The St. Lucia Labour Party is a nationalist party. It is a party for social democracy. It is a party for the poor and the working people and the nation as a whole. And it's a party which does not brook interference in the internal affairs of other countries. Subscribes to the Charter of the United Nations. It has a wonderful manifesto put to the people. I've read it, and I believe that the people of St. Lucia, that they can look forward to 5 years of hope and prosperity. I want, on behalf of the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to congratulate Philippe and the St. Lucia Labour Party and Stevenson King, and also Richard Frederick. I want to congratulate too the outgoing Prime Minister, Alan Chastanet, for winning his seat, and also for the UWP candidate in Choiseul.
It's the last part that get me, because he say you congratulate everybody and you say congratulations to Chastanet for winning your seat, and I say yes. I mean, that's all you can see, but the shade of it all. Well, this is, I think, where we're at, and some people are saying, you know, there won't be time for celebration, and I have to admit too that, you know, I'm trying to be the bigger person. I'm trying to say, you know what, there's no time to look back on things. Let's just move forward, because right now we're just to be glorified. What's the word? What his name said? Kenson Casimir called it something that I liked: glorified janitors trying to clean up the mess that Chastanet left behind. And I was saying, you know what, let's not celebrate, let's not do any of that, let's just start to work. They tell me shut up and let them celebrate, because they have been under for so long and been oppressed for so long, to give them 2 weeks, even 3 weeks, give them a month to enjoy themselves and to celebrate. So I think when that person spoke to me, I think I understand that when people have been downtrodden and oppressed for so long, let them breathe, and I guess I understand that. But with everything going on, people sending messages, Marshall people are happy. I think the country is hopeful as to what is going to happen next. But as for what we can say about Chastanet, I don't know what's going to happen. All I do know is that there are many instances where he could have been a leader, and the one that stands out the most is on an international forum. The Prime Minister, when he could be lauding the Caribbean, St. Lucia, decided not to do that and say who he really is and where he's really from.
He went to Stansted College. He became head boy. He was very prominent in the basketball and all that kind of thing. And when he finished there, he went to the university, Bishops, right, also in Quebec. So he spent almost, I would say, 10 to 12 years in Canada. He finishes his education.
I'm a product of Canada. I did my high school in Canada. I did my university in Canada. Both my kids go to school in Canada.
I can't stay. Madras. Hey. Free second day. Boom. I like it. Grow.
Pani street party se jou sa la. Pas ni l'argent encore. Si nous tous prenons responsabilité et faire ça nous ni pour faire, bagay la kay marcher et nous tous kay manger. En nous tirer la peine nous kay danser encore.
Wear a mask, wash your hands and maintain a 6-feet distance. If we keep St. Lucia safe, we can keep our economy running.
We're taking our life back. Get vaccinated. The COVID-19 vaccination drive is mobile and coming to you. Taking the 2 doses of the safe and effective AstraZeneca vaccine is our part to take St. Lucia back. Visit the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Bureau of Health Education Facebook pages to find out the vaccination time and venue nearest to you. Bring personal identification, and if you already have your first dose, bring your COVID-19 vaccination card when getting the second. Get vaccinated. This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Oh.
DJ on the beat.
How I make you just a cock it up, back it up, fling it up on me so heaven in your waistline when you make it roll. Tough gal a road that tell me say them a bit too, but none of them don't have it like you. When it come to whining skill, gal you know you are the baddest. Them a dancehall queen, but you a dancehall goddess. Them gal a road really need little practice, but everything I need, girl you have it. I use a professional bump and roller, qualified waistline controller. You a bubble in general, them gal they just a bubbling soldier. Use a professional bump and roller, qualified waistline controller. If them girl they a bubbling boss, you a bubbling CEO. Yeah, I work 7 days straight feet. All I hope and pray feet. And if them
I can't stay.
I've always told people, rural people especially, and what I would call the downtrodden, or the people who have the least opportunities. The guys at the 1% at the top, they don't need me to help them. If they need a lawyer, they're going to get one. They know where to get one, they'll pay for it. If they need a doctor, they'll fly to Martinique or Miami and get their medication and get taken care of. It is the little guy who is always struggling, and yet for some reason or another, these are the people who tend to be so infatuated with color and a little money that they tend to vote along those lines and then pay for it in a huge way going down the road. And I think it's important for us to recognize that we must understand the psychology of the people who are running this organization.
Not one of mendicants, not one of people who want to sit by and to say, la gouvernement, la gouvernement. These are 5 things that we will deliver to you with 5 more years of United Workers' Party. That's it. We will deliver 5 important things to you, and all we're asking is for you to allow us to continue to finish the job that we started. The second thing, my flabo, is money for the needy. We go around this country and we see how many people have been suffering, even before COVID. We go around this country and we see how many people have been suffering, even before COVID. Even before COVID. Even before COVID.
Complication. I had some threats to my life in London, and I was reported here after, I separated with my wife, and I've had no money, or I've had no access to means to getting money, and health care.
What would be your message?
Look, the Prime Minister is calling him.
That's good, he can come. What would be your message? What would be your message to Shastny?
I hope he
What would be your message to Shastny?
Well, I hope he can hear my plea for help.
And I decided to air this again, and this is a clip from Christopher, who was recording the homeless man trying to figure out what his story was, and then you get the Prime Minister recording someone doing that instead of, I guess, coming out to help because you live in around the area and all that sort of thing. And for me, I was there because I was also so surprised that that was happening. Like, why would a prime minister come out of his vehicle and call Christopher's name and try to record it? Like, what was going on through his mind? And then at the same time, on the same evening and before that, talk about, you know, for the homeless and for the needy and the elderly and everything else. All of it just words, the 5 for 5. And when I look at that video, it again reminds me that even though we are moving on and we are right to do so, some people might have the feeling like, you know, it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. Never ever come to the point, and we have 5 years on for people to forget. But I think that we really have to congratulate ourselves, not even for removing the last administration because of how much they did not care and about the callous nature, but also that we survived them. Can you imagine that for 5 years, those of us who did survive them, and for those who didn't, for the people that have died in a hospital because they could not be placed in a better healthcare facility, we will not know. I don't know whether there's any data on that. For the businesses that did not survive this administration, the former administration, for many of the other things that did not survive it, I don't know what else to say other than people gave it their best. And for those of us who did survive all of the things that was said, all of the callous acts that we have seen, I tell us, I don't know, congratulations. But just so we remember, let us take a look at what we survived.
Coming soon. St. Lucia's General Elections 2021. Starring Neville Snack, Peter Josie, Clement Charlie Charles, Christopher Hunt, Sir Michael Chasney, Edmund Estefan, Kenny Anthony, Peterson Francis, Champagne, Alva Baptiste, Yadi, Shaheem, Guy Joseph, Stephenson King, Harold Stanislas, Richard Frederick, KKRR, Alan Chasney, Gail Rickerbutt, Philip J. Pierre, Bradley Felix, Wayne Girard, and Dominic Fede. Who will win? Who will lose? Coming to a ballot box near you.
The same way that Philip Pierre stutters. Mr. Speaker, having established the raison d'etre for this government's infrastructure program, as well as the installation of water and electricity supply networks, we'll continue to ensure that we have a cadre of healthcare personnel which is the tax regime to some semblance of normalcy. Experiencing resurgences. Mr. Speaker, as a direct in the post-pandemic area. Neglect that comprise connectivity through the hybrid of virtual and face-to-face elements would enable us to do just that.
Mama souffrir. I'm going to be very emotional. I'm going to be emotional. Give me a second. Please, everybody. Everybody, please give me a second.
With the suit, let's do the social chanting.
Don't get your head confused. They wanted to find out why the same thing around the island. Well, 40% answered that they flocked because they were blasted corrupt. 20 more said it was unemployment. Plus buses busting advertisements. Were it not for you, because of people. From the response inside, I get when feeling me and I would lose like 17 to 1. They lose, all them fellas lose, because they refuse to put their feet in the people's shoes. That's why they lose, all them fellas lose. That is why all them fellas lose. Don't get your head confused. That is why all them fellas lose.
If they don't eat, they will not die. Or they will not suffer that much. If they don't eat, they will not die. Or they will not suffer that much.
As a political leader, your first task is to present to your electorate a full set of candidates. But what did they do instead? They presented the electorate with 15 people, 15 plus 2. And listen to what they're telling us. Listen to what they're telling us. I am offering you a bunch of misfits, people that they have told us were unfit to be in the Parliament of St. Lucia. Folks, from the time Alan Chasney defeated Stephenson King, or let me change it around. From the time Stephenson King lost that leadership race to Alan Chasney, he has never been happy. He has never been happy. He has undermined the work of his ministry and his constituency. People, I was born and raised in Leclerc in Castries North. As I walked through Castries North, I asked myself, where was the representation from Stephenson King? Stephenson King is another Philippier. They have enjoyed being in the House of Parliament, and the work is not there. And not to say Stephenson King did not have the money to do the work. The money was available to him. He just did not do the work. I was ashamed to see the state of Leclerc. Leclerc is the same as when I left it 30-something years ago. People, we can do better. Your rep has done better for you in Soufrière. And you need to keep working. People, we know on the 26th of July, when the United Workers' Party wins this election, we know who will be our Prime Minister. This man will be our Prime Minister. But if, God forbid, the election is close, and we have to make sure that does not happen. People, we have a responsibility to ourselves, to our children, to our country, to our future, to make sure that does not happen. If, God forbid, that election is close, and they have to bring on Richard Frederick and Stephenson King, who will be the Prime Minister? We don't know. We do not know. And we know what happened in 1979. We are not going back to 1979. We are not. We are giving this government, the United Workers' Party, a decisive victory at the polls. Abundantly clear that we know who will be the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. Alan Chasney.
Dominic said he has done quite a lot. He has done both invisible, okay, and non-visible. You understand? So he must win because he has worked for a second term in office.
Yeah, let's keep it real.
Robert.
Good morning.
My name is D-Day.
Say that again?
Sunday, 26 July.
Yes?
Your last payday.
Oh man, come on. It's not going to be my last payday, you idiot. It's not going to be. Stop wasting your credit. Maybe somebody paid you credit. Damn idiot.
I I've always loved that video, but it's just showing us just so much of what was said. Now there are the people who will continue. Minova Kaidi, or right now I see she posted on Facebook that she's proud of the campaign that was run, and that made me even sicker. Minerva Ward is on a platform and now saying that for the 40 years Stephenson King didn't do anything for La Clary, and I mean that is the ultimate, that is the hackiest of hacks. That doesn't have any sort of logic to it. But even now when she's saying she's proud of the campaign with all the lies and the deceit and treating people like shit and all of that, you're proud of. No, but let's say munate de utate denye paycheck ou pade kwe. And I know this is not me being the bigger person, but let me tell you, I have to say that for the many people that have suffered, I think, yes, we need to take a look at it and all of the talk that people were giving. And we had to take a look back at what we survived. And it continues, because right after the election, I don't know whether you've heard it, but some people are saying, you know, that can't be right. Violence or fair. Come and say, well, again. That sort of thing, that sort of discussion is what's going on. And of course, the Prime Minister's father is speaking with champagne. Wow. Okay, listen, I know I'm catching my kicks, but sometimes I can't be all the time, you know, the bigger person. Okay, so we are going to take a look at the former Prime Ministers. I need to get used to saying that. Papa Allen, Michael Shastney, and what he thinks, and they're trying to analyze how can you possibly lose, because it must be so difficult. You try to steal in elections and you still lost. I know they can't grasp it, they can't understand it. So of course, what do? Blame solutions.
If I lose these elections, I've been outspent completely. Champagne, I'll tell you something, we don't have to be a genius. You cannot tell me that all that work that was done in certain areas, if I take, for instance, the Prime Minister's constituency, Soufre, Choiseul, Grosile, Andre Miku, Andre Canaries, and one more.
And Guy, Southeast.
These 6 areas, to me, I cannot see how anybody could have lost an election based on what they have done.
So here's the difficulty. So the masses, who is the ordinary man on the ground, that listens to no radio, listens to no TV, he gets up at 5, hangs out by the street with another 4 guys. They drink a Guinness, a little shot, all day. This is where they stay. I want you to listen to that, Sir Michael. These 5 guys has 5 girlfriends. That's 10 people. Development to them is not something that is deeply interested in their minds.
Yes.
If they happen to get to a hospital, so be it. If they happen to drive on the road, so be it. But the total deep interest of the community's development is not them. Now, these same 5 guys, a guy approaches them on election morning. Remember, these guys don't work. They're not interested in the development.
Right.
One guy approaches them with $2,000 or $500 on election morning. I say, wait a minute, I have this $500. You go vote for me. You don't know if he's going to do it. But because he's never seen that money before, he will be sincere enough to go vote for you, and when he comes back with that red ink, he gets $500. This would be a better interest to him than roads and health centers and everything else. This is what this has come down to in St. Lucia. This is what St. Lucia point. And these people are in the majority.
Right.
You're talking thousands and thousands of these guys that hang out on the streets. They are in the majority. This fight will always be that way. If UWP, and I'm not saying they should go down that road, but it is something UWP have to look into very seriously, not into giving money, to make the message get to these people down there on the streets that it is much better to develop your communities than to take $200 until 5 years. This is my take on it.
But isn't that
I told you in 2009, I'm telling you again in 2021, Alan Shastney will be St. Lucia's Prime Minister again.
But I forgot to say when I was reading what I wrote, that one of the things he has to do, though, and I hope he does it, is to offer his resignation to the party, the chairman of the party, because that's the rules. Once a party loses an election, and that is what party politics is about, he as the political leader, Prime Minister is gone, right? But as political leader, he must tender his resignation officially to the chairman of the party.
Is that in the United Constitution?
Let
the peer decide.
Let the party organize itself. The chairman and his executive will decide when to call a convention of the party, get all the constituencies together in one place, and let them choose a new political leader. If he wants, he can put his name back in the ring, and if he does, I think he will win.
Now, I don't know if that's in the Constitution. I maybe have not read that part, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. I have not read that part. So, but I am telling you, if Alan sticks around with St. Lucia's politics, he will. Let me say something. The man said we're building a brand new St. Lucia. I believe in my mind we did not push that as hard as we should have.
Change, you pushed it, but you can bring a horse to the well, but you can't make it drink. You know, you said something earlier on. It doesn't resonate because that's not their prerogative. It's not their prerogative. Their prerogative is now for now. Give $500.
And even now, these people will see nothing better, and it's funny to me because Papa Shasa said like, "Pasa membia said, ipa kupu be koi, ipa de koi, ipa de sav." But now to see people once again, Team Piole Koyo mail a lot moon. They now accuse the St. Lucia Labour Party of buying votes when we know what was happening on the ground. When Champagne now, instead of saying wow for everything Michael Chasney says, he ain't kissing us anymore. In fact, he will interject whenever I ever see Champagne do that and have an analysis that St. Lucians just on the road and they drinking rum and these men have women and that's all they want is to drink rum and something fast, something for the while. When it doesn't work in your favor, people are jackasses, and the mendicants like you say you pass that is how you think of St. Lucians. And to think that even when you guys are saying that you're regrouping or you're reflecting, if this is the level at which you're talking, Michael Chasney saying that people want it now for now, the disrespect, the continued disrespect even in your loss says a lot. And Champagne, I see you in this morning, I see you the day before, I see you all again. Ma'am, we're going to open for calls, but we'll open for calls. You can open the lines now, but as you wait your call, I think there's something else. And you see all the hacks, Nancy, I hear from yet. I don't know what they're doing. Oh, Bowtie man, what an EPS, keep it real. I haven't heard from. But you know the saddest thing that I've ever seen right now continues to be Peter Josie. I don't know. I await your calls, but as we await, let's take a look at this. Right now, Peter Josie is apologizing and is saying that he always believed in Pierre.
I've never questioned the voters' decision when I lost or when I won. So I think you're right. I probably owe you, if not everybody else who maybe didn't hear me, to take back my word, call it an apology if you want, and say, listen, I think at last, all of the messages and lessons during my Black Power days, it looked like it's sinking into the minds of even the people that were not there. So it's nice to see. I'm saying that and I'm laughing because it's nice to see that at least one person has taken me up on that. Okay? Forget about the light skin, coulette, that. Now we have a person whose complexion, I would say, represents the island. And I am saying to my friend who wrote this to me, okay, my brother, you have my apology. And I just pray and hope that things work out. And I've said on numerous occasions on this station that I've known Mr. Pierre longer than any other person in the government. Knew his father, I knew his brother and everything. So I've always wished him well.
You know what Josie do that? They're like you know them people, hey, that's my cousin, I know his brother, I know his mother. Now you know him. Now you know that he was always good. Now you want to apologize for your racist statements. You'll see a lot of them coming. Not sincere, I don't think. but they go where the power goes. And these are not the kind of people that I don't think you would want in your camp anyways. People for country to say when they're wrong and when they're right. I don't think anybody wants hats like that. Because trust and believe, if this administration is doing wrong to the people of St. Lucia, and I want that to happen with all of us, let them know that the power resides with you. Let them politicians fear you. Guys, si vous portez paix, moi ça va venir, challenge them. And I have to implore this administration to make sure that all of the corruption that we've seen, that we get justice. We get justice for that. Let's take our first call. Good morning.
Good morning, Tresha.
How are you? I'm good.
Okay. Tresha, I'm not going to address all of the foolishness spoken by Michael Chasney, Champagne, and Peter Josie. You know, that's for another show. Nor will I begin to attempt to deal with some of the other stuff. In fact, I've already begun writing a novel.
Oh, yeah?
My second. It'll be on the politics of the past 5 years. Because, Tresha, some of those things that happened under the tenure of the United Workers' Party government led by Alan Chasney was so reprehensible, so dangerous to our democracy, that we should never forget. We must never forget those things. But let me speak on another issue. Joshua, let me begin by asking you, do you honestly believe that Michael Chasney will sit out the next 5 years as the representative for Micoud South?
I don't think so.
Sorry?
I don't think so. I don't think he has it in him.
Tresha, I may be wrong, but I'm inclined to agree with you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. Tresha, a leopard doesn't change its spots. Alan Chasney has been lying his way through St. Lucia, through the parliament, through the corridors of power from 2006 when he became tourism minister, and maybe even before that. Tresha, Alan Chasney told the most lies in his life in the past 5 years of the governance of this country. Alan Chasney is not about to change. Alan Chasney will go into the House, at least for the first few sittings, and attempt to do the same thing. But I know the other, well, not counting Bradley Felix, those other people in the House will not stand for that. I am fairly confident. Those other people in the House will not stand for that. And at every instance of a lie from Alan Chasney, one of them is going to stand up and say something to the effect that, Mr. Speaker, on a point of order or correction, the member for Micoud South is misleading the House. He just said so and so and so, when in fact it is so and so and so. And I would, through you, Mr. Speaker, I would like him to withdraw. And Tresha, trust me, that is going to happen so often at any one sitting of the House when Alan Chasney stands up to make his... I think that will get him sick. And I'm being serious here. I mean, there's no laughing about that. I'm being serious. That is going to make him sick. And Tresha, I strongly suspect he is going to bow out of that. Even if he doesn't tender his resignation as a representative for Micoud South, he's just going to give up the ghost. Not like Josie Ghost, but he's going to give up the ghost in terms of parliamentary sittings. So I don't think and again I may be wrong, but I don't think we're going to see a heck of a lot of Alan Chasney in the House. Thanks, Tresha.
Thank you very much, caller. We continue to take your calls at 572-7588 and also via WhatsApp at 484-7588. With Alan Chasney, and like you said, caller, I do not believe that he will continue, but I more think that what if I've read the former Prime Minister, Tresha, Get with the program, sis. Read the room. But sorry, so be patient with me, guys. It's going to take some time for me to remember this. But the former Prime Minister, I cannot imagine going down to Miku without any power. You don't have any real way of going and having going on flights and speaking to millionaires and telling them come down with some kind of stupid investment that you want to call it. When you don't have that, you're not doing the hobnobbing. You just really have to go there, sit there in the constituency office, listen to the people and their problems, listen to farmers, listen to them speak in maybe ways that you don't understand. Coming from Rodney Bay every week going and do that. You ukwe Alan Safeza. I do not believe it, but we're there to see. Let's take the other call. Good morning.
Tresha.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm feeling relieved. I'm feeling that the free.
Yeah.
I'm feeling that St. Lucia is free everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Even,
I like that
even
feeling.
People that were doubting now are saying to me, boy, the country looks on a better path. But Philip J. Pierre have a lot to deal with. And you know the hypocrisy, they knew all about it. And they inclined to stand with the party or the party. But Trisha, on another note, you know, I believe we shall have to prepare ourselves for by-election.
Oh, yeah?
I cannot see Alan Shastney staying in Miku South. Remember, Alan Shastney bought his way in there, you know, to be leader. And based on the norms, while it's the Constitution say the one that has the majority of support in the House will become the Prime Minister. But the norm has shown that the leader of the party normally becomes the Prime Minister. Correct? Alan Shastney doesn't have that lever of power in his hands anymore. And Alan Shastney, to me, and not having the people at heart, because remember he jumped from Soufriere when he didn't make it, he strategized and see, you know what, I could buy my way into Miku South. He bought his way into Miku South, he became the leader, the party eventually won, he was Prime Minister.
But when that happens and the Prime Minister does that and he will leave Miku South, I want the people there to realize that it was never about you. He never cared about you. This is about power.
They knew that. They know it's not about them. But the few that were getting some bits and pieces to hold him up were there. But it was never about them. It was never about them. And I believe Alan Shastney will not go down Miku, up and down Miku like that. He will go. He will quit. He will go and live his life out of St. Lucia. And the people that were backing Alan Shastney will not even give him a job. Because they didn't give him a job before, and they will not give him a job after.
I mean, say what you will, financially, Alan is fine. CIF, what's up?
Well, he have made a few dollars being Prime Minister.
He is an heir to his father's.
Trisha, I have taken a friendly bet that Alan Shastney used the government credit card. I believe strongly because of his carelessness and thinking that the money is his, use the government credit card to bet on horses. That's why I'm very much interested in what the credit card was used for. Because we know that kind of huge sum of money Alan Shastney used that for. Kenny Anthony never spent that kind of money. Stevenson King never spent that kind of money with the government credit card like that. So I'm interested in the itemizing the credit card to see if I win my bet. Because I know this man so well, while I have never uttered a word to him, not drunk a glass of water with him, I want to bet my money that Alan Shastney used the government credit card to do other things than governmental business.
Well, we'll have to see, caller. We'll have to see. We cannot say that definitively just yet. I think we have another call, though. Thank you very much for calling. Appreciate it. Let's take the other call. Good morning. Good afternoon. Sorry.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Thank you for being patient. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm a very patient person. That laugh, I made that laugh. I wanted to say congrats to you. Obviously, I'm sure you've gotten that before, but congrats to you and the job well done and the work. And I continue to look forward to you raising, bringing truth to issues that are all pertinent to all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to say a couple things, and you really touched me when you said something that we as citizens need to realize that power lies with us. And I think that's a powerful message that maybe you should put on a shirt. That should be a tagline, but the power does reside with us, Tresha. And thank you for saying that. And I think as we embark on this journey with the St. Lucia Labour Party or this administration, we need to realize that and also recognize that we are citizen journalists, that while there are media professionals like yourselves, I think citizens need to be able to share their stories with y'all and also be able to go publicly and share their stories, because part of this was able to challenge Cambridge Analytica and change the narrative for this election, which I think was a huge success. In the interest of raising issues, I just want to say, my brothers and sisters, I am not going to remain silent or feel intimidated, so I'm going to say the following. Cabot St. Lucia is continuing to rape and pillage the land. As we wait for the Cabinet of Ministers to come in, thank you, and I look forward to that on Thursday, we need to be vigilant that Allen gave Cabot St. Lucia an inch and they're taking the coastline away from us. In addition to that, in our vigilance and not to be silent to what's happening, the stench of the last administration is allowing hotels to actually ask us as citizens to provide our names and take temperature checks if we need to use the beach. I'm not sure if you're aware, but I posted about it, and I want St. Lucians to ask and post and challenge this sort of infringement on our rights. They should not be doing that. The mere fact that we need to walk through what they call private property is by its very face an admission that they did not provide full and fair access to the beach. So I want to implore us to think and just speak with this administration. How are we going to solve this continuing and emerging issue where we are losing beach access? But again, Tresha, thank you, and I really look forward to continuing to see you. Okay?
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Kola. I appreciate that. And like you said, there are so many other issues that we will not let up on. The Cabot DSH Sakifet Aviefoala, that is criminal, and I think we are awaiting this administration to take some definitive steps on what we're going to do as a country. And when you say congratulations, thank you very much, but I do think, you know, it is about all of us, and I just wanted to say thank you to St. Lucians for deciding that you are not what they tell you are. Upa Womie, and you're not jackasses and mendicants that they can give $200 to and tell you to buy your vote. Vraiment, franchement, bien fait. And as we continue, we will be looking at some social issues. There are other things that we need to look at, and that, I think, is where I want to head into that direction. We're coming to the end of the show now. I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining. We will continue to speak our truth in the way that we know, and you have to permit me, because I don't do this very often, but you know, when people say take the higher road and that kind of thing, but I do know that if it was the other way around, the flowboats taking, you sitting down there at your home, wherever you are, in your workplace, on driving, whatever, see flowboat again, what do you think would have happened? People are taking this in stride. People are being respectful. Me nervous, see flowboat again, no, but see flowboat again, see Christian, see Doctor. It would have been chaos, I think. But I just wanted to commend so many people, because we're trying to focus more on country and not gloat, and I think that's the tone that I'm seeing. But today, I needed it. I needed to know that in all of what was being said, in the most callous ways, Nancy was disrespectful. How can you mock a man with one leg and say, you know, Miku North, don't do that? You know, you do all that. All that, tout la zovolea, all that, and people will know, solutions will know that they are not to trust you. And I also think that there are some faces that should never show again in our political arena, ever. Guy Joseph being one of them. That's where I'm at. So if we have to continue, the administration will do what they're doing. But for the people, we will be the guardians of truth. And join me on the show. Well, I'll join you wherever you want to. We'll continue the discussions, because it's not just me. I think it's all of us. All of us took a stand on that. But just as we end, you know, there are a lot of things I say that we've survived, but some things bring a different kind of glee to my heart. And we'll end on that note. Thank you guys very much. I'll see you, Sibodivle, tomorrow, where we will continue to discuss these issues. But on the next clip, just tell me if you remember that and how you feel watching that now.
Tikwa, 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 désolé, les bawadés, le cachet des landa, les bawadés, les désolé, who we want,